Hey friends, this is Sherry and I have an exciting announcement for you. Starting at the end of this May 2025, I will be launching something brand new, online women's connection cohorts. This is the first time I'm creating a space where we can gather in small, purposeful groups to learn, grow, and connect. These online cohorts will meet via Zoom and will include time for encouragement, meaningful conversation, and faith-based growth. We will be covering topics such as how to release stress, find more energy, how to clear out mental clutter, and connect more closely with God. If you're longing to stay close to God, live with more intention, and feel less overwhelmed by stress, this is for you. You will come away feeling refreshed, supported, and re-centered in your purpose. We will begin with limited spots available in our very first round. So if you'd like to be the first to know when signups open, head over to sherryelaine.com, click on the cohorts tab and sign up for the notification list. Or you can simply check the website and my social media announcements on May 1st, 2025. That's in just a couple of weeks now when signups officially open for the cohort that starts on May 28th. I look forward to meeting some of you and just spending more time with some of you very, very soon. Welcome back to Faith and Soul Care. I'm Sherry Elaine, and today we're talking about something that I've been meaning to discuss for a while. The difference between self-care and soul care. Now, believe me, I enjoy a spa treatment or vacation day just as much as anyone. And there's something truly refreshing about a quiet morning walk on a cool day, or a hot cup of coffee or tea with a book on a cold evening. These things are good, and they are needed, and they have their place when it comes to taking care of ourselves. But we can confuse self-care with soul care. We think if we just take a break, make space for downtime, get some more sleep, or treat ourselves with a little something, we'll feel renewed and energetic again. But we also know that's not always true. And even when it is true, the refreshment doesn't last. For example, I want to tell you that personally, I am trained as a clinical counselor, and I also have sought out counseling for myself a number of times. Now, each time when I have discussed with the counselor, I have been told to do something that I consider enjoyable for me each week. That's an instruction I've been given by my counselor as part of my strategy to manage stress and take care of myself. It's self-care. Personally, for me, and I may be speaking for myself only, when I am stressed, it's usually because I feel like I have too much to do and not enough time or resources to do it. So when someone tells me that I need to take more time for an enjoyable activity during times of stress, I roll my eyes a bit. Self-care doesn't really help me with my stress. It's a Band-Aid for me only, if it helps at all. I may feel better for a couple of hours, or maybe even for the remainder of the day. The next morning when I wake up, I'm facing the stress again. I might even think to myself, well, if I hadn't taken time to go to the nail salon yesterday for self-care, then I may have been able to tackle that stressful thing and it would already be done. Does anyone else relate? Am I the only one that often feels like trying to add self-care into an already busy and stressful list of to-dos is just absurd? Well, that is because stress and anxiety and other negative emotions respond best to soul care, not self-care, especially if you are a Christian, because then we have access to the best soul care provider in the universe that can provide us the peace and calm that passes all understanding. Here is the thing, though. No clinical counselor can teach you about soul care if they are working within the healthcare or clinical model, even if they are a Christian. Of course, most of them haven't learned about soul care unless they have taken special training in it. It's not taught in most clinical mental health graduate programs. So that was actually a long aside, but let's get back to the question. What makes self-care and soul care different? The main question I will focus on is this. Why is soul care better for our emotional needs and stress management than self-care is? Well, what is soul care? Jesus recognized our need for it. He recognized our human need for rest, but not just going to sleep type rest. The rest he talks about that we need is not just about physical recovery. It's an invitation to step away from distractions and be with him. That leads us into a practice of soul care. In Matthew 11:28 through 29, it's a verse so many of us know and cling to, but I don't think we know how to put it into practice. It says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Jesus offers this deeper soul care. It's not just about making sure we're rested. It's about making sure we are spiritually nourished. Our souls were created for connection with God, and without that, no amount of self-care will make us feel fully refreshed and fully whole. Now, in that verse in Matthew 11, the phrase, "rest for your souls," is a key phrase. The Greek word for rest here is anapausis, which means more than just relaxation. It means deep relief, renewal, and refreshment at our very core, at the soul level. Jesus isn't offering a vacation. He's offering a kind of soul rest that the world cannot give us. So there it is right there. Jesus himself says why you need to do what I call soul care. When you are weary and tired and emotionally done and stressed, you are to go to him. Now, that base word for what is translated as heavy laden here is fortizo, and it was a word in common use in Roman times, and it was used commonly to refer to both being burdened physically from the toiling of work or manual labor, but it was also used regularly for emotional burdens and for having to bear circumstances that seem too much to bear. So yes, this invitation is for us. It's for physical stress our bodies may be holding, and it's for mental and emotional stress that burdens us and fatigues us. What does Jesus tell us to do with these burdens, both physical and mental? Notice he doesn't say make room for self-care. Nowhere does he say anything like that. He doesn't say take a day off or go do something fun or treat yourself. He doesn't say go spend some time in an enjoyable activity for a while. He says, come to me. I am the answer for your weariness. I am the answer for your burdens. I have rest that I will give you. And then he says to take my yoke upon you. And this means to walk side by side with him as two oxen work together side by side, carrying the burdensome load. Walk side by side with him and he will be there with you, close to you, and help you carry the load, with the result being you will find rest for your soul. Soul care is about being filled and restored and walking with the Spirit of God himself. Self-care may help, but it's never enough. So here's where we get into trouble. When we try to replace soul care with self-care, we'll always feel like we're almost refreshed, but not quite fully. Like we're almost okay, or we are okay for a while, but something is still missing and it doesn't last. That's because our souls don't just need plain rest. They need resting with God. So how do we practice soul care? Soul care really isn't complicated, but it does take intentionality. Soul care does not happen passively by any means. There are several different practices that you can start with that are refreshing. And here are two simple ways to start. One is spending time in God's presence in order to truly rest spiritually. Now, this is not just prayer and reading the Bible. It is practicing his presence and being aware of his presence and allowing his presence to comfort you. Then, another good practice of soul care is abiding in Christ and allowing him to fill you up with his goodness, with his good thoughts and teachings. This involves allowing your thought life to abide in the teachings of Jesus and to allow your thoughts to sort of marinate. I say that metaphorically, of course, in God's thoughts, so that his thoughts start to permeate your thoughts and correct and fill your thoughts where needed. Now, I go into these practices a bit more in my book, Closer to God, Simple Methods Starting Today. But even better, remember, beginning May 1st, you may sign up for the Women's Online Connection cohorts, which will be 5 weeks starting the last week in May. We will go through a course on soul care methods together, and I believe that it is going to be an amazing time for our spiritual growth. If you want to make sure you are notified as soon as the signups begin, then make sure you're on my email list, which the sign up for this right now, the notification list can be found at sherryelaine.com/cohorts. And now for some final thoughts. Is self-care good? Yes, it can most definitely be good, but it's not true renewal. True renewal, deep, lasting soul rest can only come from being filled by God. There is no other way to truly be renewed and refreshed. So let's not settle for short-lived, surface-level rest or refreshment breaks when Jesus is offering something deeper. Instead, let's go away with him for a while, even if it's just for certain set-aside times in the week. Let's go away with him for a while for the kind of rest that truly satisfies. Let's build practices that include soul care with God into our regular weekly and daily routines. And I hope that I will get to see and meet with many of you soon as we go through the Women's Connection cohorts, starting up now in just a little over a month away.